So, what if you're dead? This is the afterlife. We've been here for the whole time, we just didn't know about it, you know? And nobody told us. What about that? What would you say to that possibility? Everyone's dead. And the reason your body still feels heavy and it still feels like you're on Earth is because there's a transition period. Because people like to think about Earth and heaven as some sort of polarity system where it's like there's a predestined set of time that I'm gonna be on Earth and I'm gonna die and then I'm gonna go somewhere that's way, way different and I will know for sure that I'm there. You know, maybe it's a heaven of your understanding where thoughts manifest into reality immediately, or maybe it's some sort of hell realm if you feel like you're guilty of all kinds of transgressions and you need to pay for your sins a bit, where you know you're literally sitting inside of a pool of fire and you got Mr. Devil over there with his pitchfork making sure that you're, you know, tending the flames correctly, making sure that you're keeping stock on you're keeping a nice stack of firewood. But maybe it's, you know, maybe it's not as dramatic, or maybe there's not such a great disparity between the pre-afterlife and the afterlife. You know, it would make more sense that there would be, when you arrive onto it, it's pretty similar to the old one. And then as you start to kind of realize that something is different, then your mind allowing in the possibility that you are deceased, so to speak, would allow in for new possibilities in terms of what you think could be happening in the place that you're at. Because, and I think I've said this before, but once a being sort of pops into existence, however that comes to be, there's not any more ending to that. There can't be any ending to that existence. It's eternal from the first, you know, opening of the eyes and an internal seeing of anything. It's eternal. It has to be eternal. This is just a personal opinion, but it makes sense to me, because once you come onto the scene, once you arrive, you know, you look down and you got some appendages that are sort of doing what you want them to do. And you know, you have an internal and an external. You can recognize other sort of similar beings running or walking around, or however it turns out to be. It doesn't have to be anything super specific, but you're just gonna go on because you die, you know, assuming that the existence ever ends and the consciousness will just stop completely at some point. Forever? For 10,000 years? I don't know. If it was forever, then once it stopped and you're not around anymore, you're not there to measure the duration of that, or to know that it has even occurred. And if you do come back from this duration of not being there, then that space in between, if it was pure nothingness, like if you were absent completely, then the 10,000 years it's gonna be lined up like this. This gap is just gonna be a simple thought that you can compare this new life to the old life, and then you can say, oh, based on X, Y, and Z happening outside, 10,000 years have passed. But for you, only 1 second has passed, if that. So basically, once you're here, you're stuck here forever. I mean, existing in some form. And the only way that I could see that you could somehow terminate yourself, assuming like a higher power or higher force comes in and just changes everything, so your abilities of understanding are not even remotely what they were before. But as far as I can tell, the only way to cease existing for any being would be to somehow dial it way down. So you're not ceasing to be, you're just dialing it. It'd be almost like taking cocaine, like taking a drug that numbs everything, so there's a tiny bit of awareness, but there's just barely anything. But then of course that would, you know, that would entail its own problems. So if you died and you're in the afterlife, how would you know you were in the afterlife is what I'm asking you. How would you know? Would there be signs on the street posts saying, this is heaven, you're here, you have arrived? How would it look like?